Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Tuesday, it's TLT day baby. It's finally here. I'm recording this before Teams List gets dropped this afternoon, so forgive me if things are in my side at the moment that don't exactly line up with Teams List, but we don't get the whole Teams List, we only get Vegas. So a few changes happened, hey, over the weekend. A few cheeky trials, a few question marks, a few concerns. A lot of very high-owned players aren't exactly looking very good, very promising, but trials are trials. You can't take everything as something that is extremely solid, especially it's trials. I don't really need to say too much about that. But I've made changes. Let's get into my changes. I'm going to talk myself through why I've currently got them in my side, and the key word is currently. Things will change, but it's getting near complete. You know when you're a chippy and you're getting real close to that final completion of the job? That's what it feels like. It feels like that. So let's go over it. So as you can see in my hooker slots, there's no Sandon Smith. Now, I don't know whether or not Sandon Smith is going to be that cash cow that people think he's going to be. I know I'm basing my opinion on what I saw over the trials, but I don't think he's going to be that player that is going to be involved in everything. I think best case scenario for Sandon, best case scenario, maybe 500k he tops out. And that is best case scenario. I don't see him being a 600k player. I don't see him being 55. I don't want to have to deal with that either. And I think that 400k is probably where he might top out. 400, 450. 450 is my honest opinion. 500 is best case scenario. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, chase me out of town. But instead of Sandon Smith, I've gone with Crossland. Now, obviously on the back of the news around Brayley, Crossland looked busy on the weekend. He was busy. And even if he doesn't play the full 80 at hooker or at halfback or wherever he's going to end up getting named at, he's going to be utilised elsewhere. He's going to play decent minutes. And at 340k, he scored 50, I think it was like 51 on the weekend. I prefer that over Sandon Smith. Let's just see how it goes. But it's a pod play as well. Obviously, you want to try and pod up against people. Half the country's going Sandon Smith. I think that will change. But yeah, Corey Pakes in the backup bench spot, 232k. Yeah, not much there to talk about. Terrell May, Horsburgh. I'm still so unsure about whether or not to start with Tino. He looked really good on the weekend. He looked good. I think he scored 30 in the first half, and then I believe he came off. But 30 in the first half. Does he get eased in with minutes? He could genuinely average about 50, 55 points for the first 6, 7, 8 weeks. And then once the motor starts ticking, then he can ramp it up a little bit. But I've gone with Gula. He just looks good at that starting role with the Dragons, with DeBellin. He looks good. And it just went dark. Zero Dark 30 just then. What the fuck? I just really, he looks good at 330k. I genuinely see probably about 200k worth of value there. Gula scored very well in the first half, didn't play any minutes in the second. I would prefer to start with Gula at this point in time because I feel like my logic behind this is I think that Gula will get to 500k quicker than Tino will get to 600, if that makes sense. So I see that like by the time Gula reaches that 500, 550k mark, then it will be time to swap him over to the Tino. And you can utilise that cash elsewhere instead of starting with Tino. And yeah, that's my logic. I could be wrong. But anyway, Ben Takura, fourth slot, scored a try, looked really, really good. Fingers crossed he gets a bench spot. He probably should, but who knows. 2RF, Olukwatu, that draw is unbelievable for Manly. Turbo, DCE, they'll be on. Olukwatu will score tries. We know he will, and I want to have that one gun in the 2RF. I didn't start with one gun last year in the 2RF, and I think that was the reason why I had a slightly slower start than most. I'm going to fix that this year. Olukwatu in. It's either going to be Olukwatu, Hopgood, Preston, thereabouts. Like, I do want to start with Preston, but at the moment I've got Blore. My reasoning behind Blore, with Munster back in the side, Munster looked good. He looked good. He looks fit. He looks ready. And I think now with Munster coming back into the side, it's going to even out that that distribution between Katoa and Blore looks fit. Last season, he wasn't as fit. This season, he looks fit. I think there's going to be a bit of an evening out period between Blore and Katoa, and I think I would rather have Blore to start the season than Katoa. Purely based on price alone, I think they'll end up evening themselves out eventually. So, Alex Seyfarth had the captain armband, pretty happy with his performance. He scored very, very well in the time that he was on. At 430k, I still can't believe he's so low owned. I think that'll go up with time. Bench, Finafuiaki. Dolphins draw is actually like I haven't heard too many people speak about the Dolphins draw. I believe that the Dolphins will have a relatively poor season, but their draw is probably as soft as you'll get. Like, there is every chance that the Dolphins start hot. And Finafuiaki has that upside with him. He scores tries, 368k. He's also an easy downgrade if some good cheapies get announced, which I'm expecting some. So Finafuiaki there. White is there, especially off the back of the Lenu suspension. I believe it's like 1 game or 2 games, but he could genuinely be a good reserve round 1 because he will see quite a few minutes and he loves his base. So he's in there for 367k. Again, if cheapies arise, like if the bottom dollar cheapie at the Warriors gets named to start, I will probably downgrade to him, but we'll just see what happens. Valmega, again, cheapie. We'll see what happens there. Starting with Cleary, I've gone with Duffy. Duffy looked amazing on the weekend. He's kicking goals. He's taken the goal kicking off Drinky. I don't think that's going to hurt Drinky too much. You might see maybe like a 6-point digression in Drinky, but he looked really good on the weekend too. So Duffy's in the side over Hines. It just gives you that flexibility to improve your side across the board with that extra 500k. Look, a lot of. I'm not going to knock people for starting both Cleary and Hines. I want to in the perfect world. I would like to, but that extra 500k goes a long way. So, I've been umming and ahhing between Brown and Munster. Literally the only reason why I've gone Brown over Munster at this point in time, the bye in round 2 for Munster, and then he plays the Panthers in round 3. It's not the best. It's pretty much worst case scenario for Munster. Even though he does look good, he could come out and score really, really well round 1 against the Eels, but then bye Panthers. So he could genuinely score close to fuck all in the first 3 rounds, give or take how he performs in round 1. So I've just gone with Dylan Brown at the moment for a bit more of a safety play, but I do really, really like Munster at that price. Metcalf, 443. 5'8's a shithole, and to be honest with you, outside of Metcalf, there's really not much going on around that price. It pains me to say it, but Flanagan at 400k could be I'm not even going to say it. Centre wing. Garrick, he still hasn't left my side. I've got a new face in there. Fletcher Sharp looked amazing on the weekend. He scored 2 tries. He didn't score too well considering he scored 2 tries, but if that attack can just hum for the first few rounds, Sharp is going to be in everything. He's going to take points off Ponga. He's going to be there. It's just, I trust Sharp to get more attacking stats than I trust Marzu. And I think at that 100, it's an extra 136k, but he's also got that fullback duel as well. So if Yongi does stink it up, which I don't think he will, I can move Sharp down, and for an extra 100k, I can go up to another decent fullback. And then I can plug in another cheapie into the centre wing. So I like it. It's a pod. He's very low ownership. He's only 4%, 5%. I could be wrong. Don't shoot me, but it's pretty low at the moment, maybe 6%. I like it. I think his ownership will go up a lot more before round 1 kicks off. Skelton, loved it. Absolute base stat demon. I know I said on the pod a few weeks ago that I believe he'll be a Marzu 2.0. I'm sticking with it. Very excited to see where he goes. Not where he goes, how he goes. Now, this is the one that's I like Cobbo, but I also like Lay Tower. I've probably butchered that last name, but going off his scores previously when he does play 80, he loves to score 60 plus. I think that's his spot now. I don't think he's going to lose that centre spot. If the Warriors can start well, he's very safe. But I also think that the Broncos are going to start really well with that draw as well, especially up against the Roosters round 1, where their centres are very questionable at the moment. And I think if the Broncos can put him to the sword, I think Cobbo can really jag a couple of tries. It's either him or Jesse Arthurs, but Jesse Arthurs is more of a cheaper option. Man, I don't know. There's a lot of options. Even paying up an extra 60k or something can get myself a Roger. He's on the wing now. There's so many options, and this honestly, I genuinely don't know. Right now, I don't know at this point. And yeah, it's going to be a gut feel for me where I want to go. But I'm definitely looking to pot up in the centres. I think a lot of people are going to be going with more of those high ownership type of players. But if you want to start strong, you've got to pod well. So anyway, on the bench, Finau, 4 tries. I mean, he's up against Sloan for that position. I mean, does Sloan really scare people? I don't know. He's going to be on the back end of like Holmes delivering him tries this year. Anyone on the outside of Holmes is probably going to do well this year. I don't know. Purdue looked amazing. Toya looked meh, but he's bottom dollar cheapy in a Rooster side that he'll likely start in. So, yeah. Ponga, Turbo, Yongi, nothing's changed there. So, I'm okay with the side at the moment. I think that I've toyed around with the idea of just biting the bullet and just going Grant at hooker as well. But then if I want to pay up all the way up to Grant, I mean, you're looking at downgrading Filiaki and White to both cheapies to be able to afford something like that. It's every chance that can happen. If by chance we get good valued cheapies in the 2RF comes teams list, Crossland can turn into Grant and I'll have 3 cheapies on my 2RF bench. But they've got to be decent and, yeah. Outside of that, I don't know. That's about it. It's a quick pod. I don't want to drag it on too much. There will be obviously one more post of mine on YouTube, which will have my final team. I will post that before. Oh, see, look, even if like I post a side before round 1 kicks off, the Vegas sides, you've still got like a whole week there where you could just play around with your side and like change your mind and stuff like that. I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I said, come this weekend, my side is set in stone. So I don't know. Maybe I'll put up like a half side, like my Vegas locked in players, and then I'll do the back end. And then I'll do the back end of the teams as well when they get named and confirmed. So anyway, league code, not far out. So league code is 695125. Okay. So far we have 355 legends signed up. $200 gift voucher to the merch store. You have to be a subscriber to the channel to win that $200 gift voucher. To be honest with you, there's only 355 people in the league, so it's very achievable. So I don't want to be the bad guy at the end of the season when someone goes, yay, I won the comp, and then I'm going to turn around and go, but you weren't subscribed to the channel. So be subscribed to the channel before round 1 kicks off, and you will be in line to win that voucher. All right? Cheers, legends. Thanks for tuning in. Fuck yeah, let's rip into some footy. Tuck.